I'm Lisa Beyer. I'm the Executive Director of CAT TV, and I'm here with Paula Camperman, who is the Outreach Program Manager for the Bennington County Solid Waste Alliance. And we're doing another episode of Trash Talk with Lisa and Paula. So it's been a while. It's good to see you, Paula.
Yes, good to see you too, Lisa.
Thanks for coming back to CAT TV and doing another episode with us.
I'm happy to be here and spread the wealth of information we have about trash and how to manage it.
Yeah, we know a lot about trash.
Yeah.
So I think what we really want to focus on today is the household hazardous waste collection that you have at the transfer station here in Bennington. And it sounds like a lot of people aren't aware of it, so we're trying to get more information out there and let people know what a great resource that your organization has helped bring to the community. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. Well, the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Facility is located at the Bennington Transfer Station at 904 Houghton Lane, and it was built last year, opened in July, for residents within the 13 towns that are part of the alliance within and around Bennington County. And those towns' residents and small business quantity generators are allowed to bring material in to the material facility to drop it off at a appointed time. It's not something that's open or free for all, it's by appointment. We did this because the cost to dispose of household hazardous waste in recent years has gotten so expensive. And the material is cost to dispose and the fees and the company to which we contracted with to host our one-day events was going up, not exponentially, but pretty close. The last event we did at the junior high in Bennington at May of 22 cost $26,000 for a 4-hour event, and that was just for the company that we contracted with to come set up the material collection and then pay for it to be disposed of. It did not include any advertising, the sheriff, any other fees that we need to do to get the thing done. And figure that 3 times a year, it gets expensive. So we've got a facility open now Mondays, May through October. You can set up an appointment, except on days where Monday falls on a federal holiday, then you would book a Tuesday. And thereby opening all those extra days, our budget is only $88,000 to run the facility for that season. So it's really quite much more manageable.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense from a budget standpoint.
And part of it is because of the material that is collected, some of the more unique things that we don't always get very often. Say at a 4-hour event, somebody brings a broken mercury thermometer. That is set in a special collection bin, and that bin costs $400 to provide and haul away whatever material is collected in there. So if we only collect one thermometer, that one thermometer is $400. But if we have it open there for the season or for a elongated period of time, you can collect more thermometers for that $400. So that is another way that we can control the costs of disposal.
So I think people are probably really interested in to know what can they bring to this.
Yes, I'm going to read off a list because I don't have it committed to memory, but it's a fairly extensive list. It includes antifreeze, turpentine, stains, varnishes, carburetor cleaner, creosote, drain cleaner, oven cleaner, paint strippers, thinners, solvents, fertilizers, weed and feed only, not compost or manure, gas treatments, gasoline, kerosene, engine degreaser, floor, metal, and furniture polishes, latex and oil-based paint, pool chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, mercury thermostats, batteries, both single-use, primary and rechargeable, driveway sealer, fire extinguishers, and 1 and 20-pound propane tanks. Those materials.
That's an extensive list.
Yeah, it is.
So those are all the things that you would have collected in these one-day events that you would hold throughout the county.
Yes.
And how many of those did you hold a year?
Just usually? 3 one-day events, one in Bennington, one in Dorset, and one in Reedsboro. So those 3 4-hour events were just it. Now we're open 6 hours every Monday, May through October. Right. So it is much easier. And there is a $5 fee.
Okay.
Primarily that's to make sure folks keep their appointments because it makes it easier when we're trying to get our staff out there. We have Heritage Environmental who come out from Latham, New York to actually operate the facility on the Monday. So they staff and they also repack and pull the material out when it needs disposal. Okay. So they take care of it all.
That's amazing. So how do people make an appointment?
So what folks do is they go to our website, bcswa.org, and right on the home page you'll see similar kind of imagery here, and you'll see a button that says make an appointment. And it's a real easy place where you can just pick your date on the calendar that's available. It again lists all the material items that are accepted as well as those that are not. And you can pick your appointment time. $5 will be collected then. However, if you don't want to make electronic payment, you can call our office directly at 802-442-0713 extension 2 and speak with someone there to arrange to make payment. You can probably make it then when you drop it off, but it's got to be sorted out ahead of time.
Sure,
way.
Sure.
If you're a small business quantity generator, you will make an appointment by calling our office, because small business, while the facilities are available for use, the small businesses do pay for the fees incurred for disposal. It's not free for them.
Okay.
The residents are the ones that are covered by it.
So it's open Mondays from what time?
I think it's like 9:30 to 3:30, somewhere in there. They need enough time for the crew to come in, set it up, and take down, and drive back to Albany.
And you can make an appointment far in advance.
Yeah.
So
if you want to come in
July,
July,
your schedule.
Yeah, that's right. Because I know some folks were not pleased that it was only Mondays, but we need the environmental company that comes to do the collection. They need a contracted date they can count on.
Okay.
And weekends is, while it's convenient for residents to be able to drop off things, that's when they do their one-day events in all the other communities. So they need the time, and it's not as available.
So the facility is located at the transfer station on Houghton Lane here in Bennington, and that's open to all of the Bennington County residents.
Yes, you do not need to have a transfer station sticker. You come to the gate where you're driving over the scale, explain what you're doing, and you'll see signs that'll direct you to the right that take you around, actually outside the pathway of the goings-on of the basic transfer station. You'll come up behind it, and you'll see on your left as you come, you're basically making a big loop back around. You'll see a container building. It's sitting on a concrete pad, and there'll be staff there. And you'll just sit in your car, explain who you are. They'll have you checked off on their list, and they'll take all the material out of your car. You don't need to get out. It's safer that way anyway.
So you were opened in July of last year, correct?
Yes.
So what kind of success did you see July through October last year?
It was slow at first, but it started to pick up. Yeah, and I can't remember how many appointments we had, but we had a good turnout as it just started to roll. But as I know, when we start posting information this year about it, I'm getting a lot of questions of people not even aware that it's there.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, let's take another stab at it and see what we can do. We have a handout here that we've made so that this has been dropped off at all the transfer stations in the region, the town offices, posted with libraries and post offices, a lot of community boards where I know that there's like big bulletin boards outside. I've placed it here so it's a full list of all the materials that are collected and ones that are not permitted. The important thing is when you're bringing any kind of material that you have, it's important that it's in its original container and it has a label on it, because unidentified material, if they can't really get a look at it, it's not something they're probably going to accept unless you're willing to pay for the cost of testing. Because if they can't identify it, it has to be tested to find out what type of
because they have to separate them
exactly. It's got to be classified.
The chemicals and all of that.
Exactly. So we try to let folks know. Paint, as it is, architectural paint can be accepted year-round. You don't have to save it all up just to bring to the transfer station's hazardous waste collection facility. We have a number of participating retail locations that also accept it, such as Sherwin-Williams in both Bennington and Manchester, Miles Lumber, Aubuchon. There's a number of them. And as long as the material of the paint is still in liquid form in its original container, you can bring it up to 5 gallons a day. If the container has got, say, latex in it or something, and it's all dried up solid, it would just be thrown away.
Right.
It's no longer considered toxic. So, if it's in solid form. So, Yeah, you don't need to do the kitty litter anymore, or, leaving it open to dry out. It's best that we get it back to recycle because they can turn it into something new.
Oh, good.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. So, I guess my other question, it just slipped my mind now. So if you had something else, go ahead and I'll think about it.
Basically, the $5 fee, besides just keeping you to keep your appointment, is limited to a carload of material. However, the carload can be made up of your neighbor's material too. It doesn't have to be, specific, like one person just has one can of paint
Can
or
it
something.
be a truckload?
Yeah, back up a pickup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did remember my question, and it was, how busy were the one-day events? Did people have to sit in line for a long time to get into those?
Sometimes, yes. There were some years where it, through just snafu issues with the collection company at the time, understaffing, especially during the pandemic, we had some real issues. And the company we've used the last couple of years, it was very good and got the line down because they actually started before the start time to get the line down as soon as they had their crew, which was
I
helpful.
guess what I was getting at is, that would take up a big chunk of
Yes.
people's time on a
Yes.
Saturday to go to the collection, one-day event, and this would seem a lot more convenient.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can do it on your schedule. You're in and out within 5-10
whatever
minutes?
it takes to unload the
Yeah.
vehicle, because each appointment time allows for any unloading, plus it gives the workers on site time to classify and put the material in its bin
Yeah.
before the next person comes.
So-
So that even if they don't
Yeah.
have it necessarily all put away, they can take the next person, so that there's
Yeah,
not a line
the
forming.
time the time commitment, I think, is so much shorter
Yeah.
than it would have been for the one-day
Definitely.
event. So I think that's an important thing for people to think about.
Yeah.
So what kinds of things cannot be taken in?
Motor oil, which can be dropped off at a lot of shops. They use it in their furnaces to burn for heat. A lot of mechanical auto shops use it to burn. Let's see, mower batteries, radioactive materials, smoke and CO2 detectors, fluorescent bulbs. We no longer accept those we used to collect them at the household hazardous.
The compact fluorescent.
Any of them, yeah.
Any.
And I'll go into more detail about that in a minute. Tires, sharps, explosives, including ammunition and fireworks, furniture, bulky items, mattresses, scrap metal, appliances, electronic waste, products in garbage bags, trash, empty cans, containers, dried paint, shampoos, soaps, pharmaceuticals, ointments, dish soap, dishwasher soap, candles, rock salt, drywall, compound, dried out latex paint, empty cans, and fertilizers without herbicides.
Okay.
So
So I'm sure that you have information on how those can be disposed of, most of those.
Yeah.
But those are things that are either cannot be taken in by the hazardous waste collection or could be disposed of in other ways.
yeah, because some are not determined; they're not hazardous waste.
Right.
Like somebody's trash,
Like a,
and-
a
or
mattress,
yeah,
or something like
exactly.
that. So
Mattresses
it's
can be
not-
accepted a lot of.
It's not this bulk, get rid of all of your junk.
Yeah, it's not a drop off of your barn,
Yeah.
your leftover.
When
basement.
you sign up, do you have to indicate what you're bringing?
no,
Okay.
no, not unless you've got something that you have you're unsure about. If
Okay.
you've got some kind of telltale label or something, you can call our office and we can see what we can learn about it from you and find out if it's something we can accept. If you're not
Okay.
sure about it, that's important. If you're not really clear on what it is,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, I would imagine if somebody bought an old house, and they're cleaning out the garage, and there could be something in there, and
Yeah.
you don't know what it is.
Yeah,
That's
often
but you
the
want to
case,
do
yeah.
the right thing,
Yeah.
But it's great that you guys can help maybe identify that. And you had mentioned that you could pay for testing to find out exactly what it is.
The customer can, yeah,
Exactly,
because this is all taxpayer funded. We can't pay for individual testing.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
So some of the other things, though, that are not part of the household hazardous waste collection program, but are banned items and are supported through other organizations, are through what is called extended producer responsibility, which is manufacturers sponsoring a take-back program to keep toxic and dangerous materials out of landfill.
Okay.
So some examples would be electronics and computers, architectural paint, which is picked up through the HHW facility, but also can be dropped off through certain retailers.
Right.
Batteries, single use, and lithium, and a number of different other ones, not auto batteries, just we're
Right.
talking about single use household batteries, not automotive or marine batteries. Mercury light bulbs and thermostats.
Okay.
These are all covered under special programs individually sponsored by industry organizations that are separate necessarily manufacturers, but manufacturers all pay in to support to combine their resources to collect.
Okay.
So some of these are sponsored and have collection sites at transfer stations. Others have retail locations by which they participate. So for example, electronics, a lot of transfer stations will accept certain types of electronics, including televisions, computers, desktop printers, computer peripherals, that sort of thing. There are other places such as Goodwill in Bennington and Staples. Recently, in the past year or two, Staples has expanded its program of what they collect now. Essentially, they're committed to collecting anything they sell, they'll take back. It does not
Okay.
have to be a brand that they carry. I'm talking about categories.
Oh,
So, you know,
if they sell computer monitors, they will take it back.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah. They won't take televisions. And they
And
won't
there's
take
no charge for that.
There's no charge.
Okay.
And they do not take batteries beyond 11 pounds. So they'll take cell phone batteries, they'll take alkaline, rechargeable, 9-volt button cell, hearing aid batteries, rechargeables up to 11 pounds.
What about lithium batteries?
Yes,
They
yes.
will. Okay.
Lithium batteries should be packed in a certain way. Those are those button ones, or the ones that will say lithium on them. You want to make sure that their terminals are covered, or they are kept from being in contact with other batteries. So you're going to either cover them with 2-inch packing tape, clear
Okay.
packing tape, by laying out the buttons on the one sticky side up and then folding another piece over it, and then depositing them in a battery box at Staples or at the transfer station.
Okay.
To keep them from getting in contact with others, because those are a big cause of fires in transfer stations.
Right.
Laptop batteries that don't get removed from laptops, and somebody discards a laptop inadvertently in a trash or
Oh my
something like that.
goodness.
Yeah, it does happen, and they're
So that's
coming
something
with
to think
increasing regularity at transfer stations across the country. So it's a real problem right now that they're trying to educate people to understand that batteries should be removed anytime you're done with an item of some kind that you're
Right.
no longer going to use.
Right.
So we have the electronics, paint, which is oil-based stains, shellac, lacquer, varnish, enamel, latex, acrylic, oil-based. No aerosol cans. Those materials can be taken back to Sherwin-Williams, as I mentioned, Aubuchon, Miles Lumber. They will take up to 5 gallons a day. The other one is fluorescent light bulbs, which has gone through kind of a metamorphosis change in Vermont, in which light bulbs that are CFLs and up to 4 feet and a number of other specialty bulbs are now banned from sale and distribution in Vermont. So you won't even find them in the stores.
How
So-
long has that been?
Well, the 4-foot ban was in place January 1st this year.
Okay.
And the CFL and the other ones were, 2-foot one was February of last year.
Okay.
So at this point now, it's just making that transition. Folks are getting rid of their 4-foot receptacles, or changing out ballasts, or whatever they need to do
Yeah.
to accommodate LED lighting. LED is not a banned item.
Okay.
It can be discarded if it needs to be.
So then what does, who accepts those fluorescent light bulbs?
The Bennington Transfer Station does take them as part of our HHW.
Mm-hmm.
Up north in Northshire, I believe Aubuchon, I know RK Miles does. The 2 transfer stations in Sunderland and Northshire no longer accepts fluorescent bulbs. So
I believe that Home Depot accepts them.
just the CFLs.
CFL.
Yeah, they don't
Okay.
want tubes because
The
they don't have the
tube, okay.
packing boxes. That's key. And it is limited to 10 bulbs a day. And I've had a person ask me on Facebook why, what seems like an arbitrary number. And I said, well, you have X thousand number of residents, and you have a handful of retailers. They only can take so many, so they can dedicate so much space in their storeroom. And then there's a turnaround time between receiving the packing boxes empty to fill to turn back in, and you've only got so many. You know, you can't sit them in a garbage can somewhere in a corner. It's not a safe way to store them. So they have to have the boxes on hand. So, and it is not the core of their business. It's really just they're getting a little bit of money to cover the cost of their time and energy to get it back. But it really is intended to do the right thing by keeping the material out of the landfill. So so all of these items, including thermostats for your household environment. Most of them have probably been switched out, but some folks still have the old mercury dial ones or the ones that have the little pegs that move across, non-digital format. These are ones that have just a little tiny bit of mercury in them, but it's enough that it could do tremendous damage to a body of water if it somehow got into it. So we encourage them to drop them off. I believe FW Webb in Bennington takes them back, and Bennington Home Heating and Cooling does, and they will give you a $5 rebate toward the purchase of a digital programmable one, whatever you like, on a new one. So it is nice, So
do you have all this information on your website? Because it's a lot of information. I'm trying to keep track of it and going through my head and thinking, okay, what do I need? Where do I need to take this, that, and the other thing?
Yes, we have it all. Plus, we have downloadable handouts that have all of it too. So if you go to our website, bcswa.org, you'll see drop-down menus, and you can just click on recycling, and then it'll say special recycling, and then it has a whole drop-down menu of all these categories I listed and more that'll give you sources of how to dispose of material safely, what's the daily limit, where the locations are.
It's, as many shows as we've done, and as long as we've been talking about this, it's a lot to keep track of. It's hard.
It's changing all the time because, as I said, now we have fluorescent bulbs that are being, phased out of the environment, but yet we still have to dispose of them.
Right.
And we've got companies that call us and say, hey, I've got a couple hundred bulbs I got to get rid of. Where can I take them? Well, a transfer station isn't going to take 200 bulbs. So then we give them names of contractors that they can make arrangements for shipping or pickup collection.
Right.
Same thing with household hazardous waste. There are companies that can come to the door of a larger facility that has a lot of material to get rid of beyond just what a small generator would do.
Yeah.
So, but these are sources. We also have other sources. We have book collection now at the transfer stations. It's going through a bit of a change right now. One company that placed the bins has gone out of business, and a new company is taking over. The new company is Bay State Books, and they're in the process of emptying the full bins that are at the transfer station.
Okay.
So we just ask people to hold off putting any books, and I've been
So what happens with the books?
The books are actually, the companies have pledged not to put them in the landfill. So what they do is they find, they either sell them online, they give them to organizations that sell them. They provide them to developing countries that need books, that are building curriculums or libraries themselves. And then if the book is in such bad shape that really isn't usable, they'll grind it up and turn it into pulp or some other material that can be reused.
All right.
Yeah. So it is a very good source of keeping material. And books are heavy. And, there's some people, when they got word of this, they just loaded it, so within the first week, the bin was full at these transfer stations.
I know one question that I've had is the containers as you go into Hannaford, the clothing containers.
Yes.
So tell us about that again. Refresh our memory, or my memory, on what can be put in there.
Okay, those are textile clothing collection bins, and it is just textiles. So bringing your housewares or your kid's car seat or other materials that might have some textile attached to it, you don't want to do that. It's really designed to have wearable clothing, shoes, belts, maybe some purses. That's really what it's designed to do.
And do they have to be in good condition?
Or for the textile boxes, not so much, but they should be clean and dry. If it's smelly and icky, it needs to be.
But if you have an old T-shirt that's
it's
got
some
holes in it,
yeah.
So what would they use that for?
The materials can be cut down and used for rags. The industrial rag program, which is used for industrial cleaning. If the garment is further decayed, they can actually grind it up and turn it into insulation, like a foam, or not foam, but a textile filling for car seats that they use,
Oh,
and
okay.
tiny mulch, like think of to fill
Yeah.
a car seat.
Yeah,
material.
I just, so if it doesn't, you're not necessarily, I think of the clothing that you give to Goodwill, you want it to be in good shape and, somebody would be happy to wear it again. But not, in my closet at least, there's some stuff that I just don't think is Goodwill worthy, but I don't want to throw it in the trash.
Right.
So it could go into those bins.
Yeah, and it's Goodwill also takes the ratty T-shirt that's got holes in it, and they have a industrial textile rag program too.
Okay.
So
good.
they're very pleased with that. And they sell them locally, so there are industries that will come and buy the bundle for their process. But yes, and the sad part about it is a lot of clothing manufacturers are changing the composition of their material, and it's getting a gradation, and the quality is going down, and so a lot of these things are not getting resold or reworn. They're just getting ground up, which is too bad.
Yeah, because they don't have the lifespan that they
exactly
once did.
the durability that is required. But all those textile box locations, as well as other consignment shops or secondhand reuse organizations, are listed on our website as well.
Good.
That'll give you some outlets. So there's all kinds of things. And if you're not sure about what to do with something, you're trying to recycle it, reach out to us at our website. We have, ways to contact us, message us on Facebook, whatever. We're there to try to help provide. We have a full A to Z listing on our website that goes through a myriad of listing of items that we know there are definite recycling outlets for. But, we'll try to find, if it's a real wild, unique thing, maybe not, but for things that we know, we try to get the word out.
I think most average people, have, the things that they know shouldn't go into the trash, but they're not quite sure what to do with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's just trying to educate ourselves and learn, what we can do with those so that they stay out of landfills.
Yeah. And I think that's about it. I think what I want to do is just give you information about upcoming events. We're
that sounds good.
We're really busy these next few months.
And we can post this information on the screen while this is showing.
Okay. June 1st, we're at the Arlington Energy Committee's Energy and Resilience Fair at the Arlington Common. I'm presenting information on Recycling 101, presentation where folks can bring their own materials to get questions answered about what to do with what. And we're also hosting a table there. June 4th, we're hosting a outreach meeting for waste haulers. Those are, whether you're a big firm or an independent firm, we encourage you to come to a meeting to learn about the compliance regulations that this Department of Environmental Conservation's Waste Management Prevention has for haulers, and locally what they're required to do, because each hauler actually is required to register with each town they provide service to.
Okay.
Then on the 15th, there's actually 2 events going on. So Scott, our program manager, is going to be at one, and I'll be at the other. Composting fair at the community garden in Bennington, just off where the YMCA is. There is
Bradford, I believe.
Yes, and what they'll do is have a composting demonstrations and fun activities for families, lots of raffle prizes. It should be a good time. Then on the 15th as well, I'll be up in Manchester at the Manchester Energy Committee's fair as well. We have farmers markets galore. Pretty much the first weekend of every month, we're going to be in Manchester and Arlington on those first week of the day market days. And November 9th, we've got another Fix It Fair coming, which is the repair event that we host with the Bennington Free Library. So that'll be the 9th of November. So stay tuned for that. We're very excited to get things going. If there's a topic you want discussed, let us know. Give us a holler. Contact us at bcswa.org or message us on Facebook, or you can call us at 802-442-0713 extension 2. Thanks so much, Lisa, for your time.
Yes, I'm so glad that we got together again, and thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we will have another episode for you again soon. So happy trash talk.
Yes.
Thanks.